Here we are, Jack. Another episode of Cool Story Bro. How we doing?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, thanks. This is episode 4, I believe. We're 4 in already. I'm really excited for this episode. I've got some news for you, and I've also got some funny stories. Or interesting, I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
We got another guest game.
We do have another guest game that is all ready for you. It's not a poem this time. I've gone for quotes in game, so look forward to that.
Thanks for the amazing response we had to the last episode as well. The most ever listens we've had on an episode. Thanks to Jamie for joining us. We got more guests lined up for the future, but just us two this week. But don't go anywhere. We got a great show lined up on Cool Story Bro.
Cool Story Bro, brought to you by the Sneaky Bros, bringing you releases and reviews and the latest video game news and interviews from people with nothing better to do. It's Cool Story Bro coming to you.
Cool Story Bro coming to you. If you want more from Cool Story Bro, you can get that on our website, coolstorybro.gg. You can support us on our Ko-fi page. We're going to be pumping out more bonus content on there, and any money that you give there gets yourself a nice shiny little mark on the Discord as a rank, and also, as we've said, the bonus content that we're putting on there, coolstorybro.gg. Now, before we start, Jack, I have got something for you. Now, we were talking recently that we really like our intro. That's why we play it. The Ryan did an absolutely amazing job at it. It slaps. But
Fantastic song. You know what? Is this weird to say that as I go to sleep at night, I generally think of that song in my head and hum it, and just hum it to myself.
yeah, it's catchy. It's catchy. But I put the services of artificial intelligence to the test.
Oh boy.
And I asked it to create an intro for a gaming podcast called Cool Story Bro, hosted by the Sneaky Bros. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Cool Story Bro, listen in. Gaming tales where we begin. Sneaky Bros, bring the vibe. Join the fun, take the ride. Controllers in our hands, virtual lands where we stand. Level up, don't you know? Epic quests, off we go. Cool Story Bro, let's play. Every night and every day. Sneaky Bros, show the way. Come on now, let's stay. Loot and more, secret paths to explore. Glitches, cheats, don't you miss. Every game has its twist. Pixels flashing on screen, living out every dream. Power-ups on the rise, victory in our eyes. Feel the rush as we climb, every moment in time.
Now, what did you think?
Can I say that wasn't an intro? That was an entire song.
That's a full song. Yeah. It's
AI is getting scary now. That was really, really good.
So-
I mean, nowhere near as good as ours, but it's almost there. It's really good.
I've played with AI music before. The only thing that makes me laugh, and always happens, is that it's obsessed with rhyming lyrics. That seems to be the only thing it likes to do when it comes up with lyrics. But yeah, there you go. AI song for Cool Story Bro.
To be fair, the rhymes were actually pretty good, to be fair.
For those that love that, we'll release that on our Ko-fi page as well. Just more little bonus content for you for those who love the AI song. Right, let's do some gaming news. I'm going to kick us off because we are approaching the end of the year and it's that hype season for the big releases as we run up to Christmas.
Yeah, it's like every journalist's favorite time of the year right now.
Yeah.
Everyone's excited.
So in the month of September, video game sales jumped 20% across Europe.
That's a lot.
And that was due to a few games. So it's 17.6 million PC and console games were sold across Europe last month. That's according to industry insiders figures. Now, that is 20% more than September last year. So an absolutely huge month. Top game? Go on. What do you think?
Is it? I mean, I haven't played it myself, but is it Wukong?
No. EA Sports FC 2015. Sports game takes the top spot. Now, it's actually got 2% down on last year on its initial first 2 weeks sales. However, as reported by Games Industry, the premium version actually sold better than previous titles. So interesting. Obviously not called FIFA anymore, EA Sports. So yeah, sports game at the top. But the second one, I don't think you'd guess, but it has been top of the Steam charts, is The Crew 2 from Ubisoft, which is a game from 2018, but across Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, it was about $1 or €1, a pound, whatever your currency is. And a lot of games go on sale for this price, but for some reason it just flew off the shelves, and it's seen its all-time player numbers smashed, and just a lot of people heading to play it.
You've played The Crew 2, right?
Yeah, I picked it. I had it originally at launch, and I picked it back up on this £1 sale because I thought, why not? The Crew 2 I'll always have the same opinion of it, is that it's never as good as the first one. And that's not just because I hate sequels, but I don't feel like they built enough on the first game. For me, what made the first game fun is what they took out in Crew 2. Now, I understand the route they went down. They wanted an even more casual feel for the game with adding the boats and the planes and races and all that sort of stuff. And the ability to jump all over this huge map that they've created, which is a scaled down version of North America if you've not played it before. Absolutely phenomenal map design.
So someone like me who hasn't played many driving games as yourself, so what's the big difference to, I don't know, Forza?
Yeah, I'd say that's its main comparison. The Crew, the original one, pitched itself as a racing MMO. Now that's it wasn't quite there at that, but it did.
Do your dailies,
it did take exactly. It did take some MMO elements and bring it in. So you had this car, and you did various missions and challenges to grind for parts, and then you could take that car online and race against people, or you could team up in a crew, hence where the name comes from, and then go and do co-op missions together. Now, the first one as well for me, because they had this scaled version of North America, there were so many cool places that you'd want to go and visit. You'd want to go and see maybe the Everglades, you want to go see New York City, the Vegas Strip, the Grand Canyon, San Francisco. I could go on naming places in America. But to get there, you had to have visited it before. So there was an incentive to go and drive and explore, and you just experience the map on these road trips that you have. You can then fast travel after that once you've been there before, which I think is fair enough. But in the Crew 2, you could immediately fast travel pretty much anywhere you want.
And in the Crew 2, was it the same locations?
It was the exact same map. Now, I'm sure the more observant amongst gamers will say they changed bits, maybe they improved areas. However, for me, it all felt the same. The Vegas Strip was very much the same as it was in the first game. So, they already had this huge map that they put a lot of time into, so I can see why they didn't, switch that and do a Europe, for example, although that would have been amazing. I don't know. It feels like for me they probably should have just patched the original game and just kept it as a live service. And maybe there was a reason they couldn't. It's written on old code, old engine, all that sort of stuff.
Money.
But a lot of people are enjoying Crew 2. This is just my opinion, and it has shot to the top of the charts. Definitely worth checking out for £1.
For £1, totally pick it up. Crew 2, that's Ubisoft, right?
Yeah, it's all Ubisoft. Yeah, Ubisoft. Number 3 was Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, which I still need to check out because I do like a good Warhammer game. I think some people have done better things with the IP than others. Still waiting for a good RTS to enter the series. Historically, this series has been prime for amazing RTSs, and we've had them in the past. Some absolutely phenomenal games that have come out from the Warhammer series. The Dawn of War was just an awesome series. So yeah.
Creative Assembly tackle the fantasy Warhammer that has been received very, very well. So yeah, it's just 40k needs to get a good one in there. Really, need to get a good studio behind them.
I just want to take an army of knights and throw them into people, but
that sounds fun.
We're not going to get bogged down in talking about tabletop. We're not going to turn into a tabletop podcast.
No, but maybe we could get a top-down model guest on here that could tell us more about the ropes of it all, because it is quite complicated. Lots of things to talk about. Some news. I've got a little news here. Something that you and I play. League of Legends. There's a new map. Or a new map variant to the Aram map.
Oh, there is. And I have seen this, yeah.
With the fast approaching launch of Season 2 of Arcane, which is Riot's anime, released very soon on Netflix. It's an original. I've seen Season 1. I've not seen much anime. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but Arcane is fantastic. I highly recommend you watch it, Matt. There's plenty of references, obviously, because it's in the League of Legends universe, and you get to meet certain champions, and you get to see their backstories. So yeah, this is cross-promotion. It's happening over, most of Riot's games. You'll be seeing some things on, I believe, even Valorant. There's going to be some Gun Buddies, the card game, Runeterra. There's going to be, I believe, some story mode. So yeah, exciting to see Season 2 of Arcane and the League of Legends crossover. There's a new map, a new Aram, all random, all mid. I do like to jump in every now and then. It's usually the game mode that my wife and I play mostly together, because it's just simple, easy just to throw yourself in there and 5v5 battle. Yeah, good times.
Yeah, it's not the game mode I played the most on League. It's something I enjoy from time to time. I'm amazed it's taken this long to do more maps for it. Obviously, when the Freljord map and the expansion came out for that was awesome. And I thought they were really going to double down on it. Maybe we're finally going to see the Magma Chamber or something like that. There's a reference for you for OG League of Legends players. Really cool to see more Aram, though. Aram's a really cool one, and I want to do an episode on this at some point. Just community things that became part of a game. Aram was a custom game that people just used to host. And in custom games, you had the ability to press randomize on your character, and then everyone just run down the mid lane. The problem with that is 90% of your games would be fine. Everyone would stick to the rules. You weren't allowed to back or anything like that. But yeah, you get people run off and do their own thing from time to time, such as online gaming. But they released their own mode. So yeah, cool seeing that being updated. And the future of League. Now, interestingly, Riot have laid off some staff recently from the League of Legends team. About 27 people, I think, they laid off. That comes off the back of them laying off just under 50, I want to say, at the start of the year, if my memory serves me well. Now, they are saying they're not intentionally scaling down the team. They're just focusing expertise and things like that. And they're not slowing down on League of Legends development. Obviously, they have to say that in press statements. They can't say, oh yeah, League's dying, we're getting rid of all our staff. I don't think it is. I think Riot may suffer from what a lot of big companies do, and they have this huge, rapid growth over these years, and they just feel they've got to keep adding staff to that, and then maybe they just have to scale back at certain times. Maybe these staff had certain functions to do things at certain times. You don't really know. So I'm not defending Riot in business practices, but yeah, I don't want to read too much into that, like, it's over for League of Legends, because it most definitely isn't. I imagine in 10 years' time it will still be something we talk about unless they do something catastrophic to destroy the game. And I think at this point it would have to be something really big. Like they would have to change like the mechanics of the game, you know, make it first person or something like that, you know, something really silly. Just like,
I mean, like, even if League does dwindle a bit, you know, Riot Games, they're ever growing. I mean, just look at the Valorant scene. It's growing every day. It's massive. They've got their own esports now. You know, it's popping off. There's a new champion all the time, new maps. Everyone's loving it. I'm loving it occasionally when I'm not raging. But yeah, Riot's just getting bigger. And, you know, I'm sure it's on the tip of your tongue. The MMO is in the works.
MMO's in the works. However long it takes for me, I'm happy for that just to take its time. But I feel like we're solidly in the Riot universe at the moment, but we've been playing Legends of Runeterra, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
We were both sort of dipping back into card games, and we both naturally picked up Hearthstone, which is a game we've had for a while. The problem we both faced is that we haven't played Hearthstone for a while, and I was appreciative of what they called catch-up booster packs, so I did get a lot of cards. However, I like playing the ranked mode, standard as well. I felt to get a competitive deck, I would have to drop a considerable amount of money on something that I really wasn't that interested in.
The amount of money that I invested in Hearthstone, and then just the cards just become mute or banned, or they're just out of rotation, and then you have to drop down some more cash. It's not ideal if you're a casual card player like myself.
Yeah, Legend of Runeterra, obviously it has a similar model. Things go out of standard mode and into Eternal, but they can rotate the opposite direction, which is good. So a card or a deck even may come back in that rotation as well, which keeps things fresh. And I really like the ability just to you design a deck, whether you import that from a deck that you've seen or a website and things like that, and then you just press buy all the cards that you need. No opening boosters, you just buy everything you need. And it's not ridiculous prices either, especially if you do a lot of the single player stuff, which Legend of Runeterra is famous for. It's single player campaigns and stuff like that for the card game are really fun, and it's a good way to build up your cards without having to pay for them either. So yeah, if you're interested in card games, the mobile app's really good as well. Check out Legends of Runeterra.
I think I dropped about £50 to £70 just to get a fairly decent deck and some legendary cards to get it to that next level. But with Legend of Runeterra, I dropped £5 and I got a full deck. I got all the champions that I could ever need, and you don't actually need to spend £5 if you don't have that. You can do it all free to play. You can grab all the cards you need by just playing. It's good.
Yeah, I think I spent about £8 on my deck, and yeah, really happy with it. And the irony is that because Legends of Runeterra is the cheaper game and I can just get a deck that I want, I've bought other decks. So I've already spent probably more money in Legends of Runeterra than I ever would in Hearthstone, because I'm not just spaffing on boosters hoping I'll get the cards that all the essence or whatever it is that you disenchant to get the cards that you want, but I fancy playing that deck. Yeah, I'll just buy that. It's great. Really like it.
You and I will be enjoying this together, co-op as well. Arena of the Gods, a new Age of Mythology massive update coming soon. I think it's November the 7th. This is dropping. It's a new game mode. I don't know if you've heard about this.
I've seen the information, but is it like a co-op campaign? Is that what it is?
So apparently it's like 35 skirmishes, so it's actually bigger than the original campaign. How big these skirmishes are going to be, who knows? We'll find out. But you're going to be taking Caster and potentially other heroes, and you'll be leveling them up as you progress. And apparently it's dynamic. It changes every time you play, and it's also co-op, so we get to face the gods and the wrath together.
They didn't have co-op campaign in the game. That's not been a feature of Age of Mythology, is it? I'm not making that up.
No, it's never had official co-op support. You can only really play co-op with user-made maps, which there's some pretty good ones out there.
Because I think Northgard did a good job of having like co-op campaign modes and things like that. That I really, really enjoyed. I think we've talked about Northgard a few times. But yeah, that as an MMO, not an MMO, as an RTS, is fantastic, and they've got a huge update coming up soon as well, which I've not read the patch notes for, but the support for that game has been fantastic. So the scene for real-time strategy lovers at the moment has never been better, I don't think. Age of Mythology doing well.
Talking about RTS becoming big again, I've heard some news, some rumors out there that apparently StarCraft 2 is getting an update soon. I'm not sure if it's a big update, but I think it's getting prepared to be released on Game Pass. The rumors. This isn't confirmed. I need to look up my sources a bit there, but StarCraft 2 might be coming to Game Pass. Yeah.
I just assumed it was a dead game. But yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people that love that will love the chance to pick it back up again and hopefully see a revival of the community. I want to jump back a little bit to something we've spoken about far too much on this podcast, but the old Horse Armor DLC from Bethesda, from the Elder Scrolls back in the day. Kotaku released an article the other day. Say they'd interviewed an ex-Bethesda dev, and they said despite the backlash, it sold millions, which I think we all know because it was the spawn of microtransactions. But I was reading the article, and the horse armor cost $2.50. So, about £2 here in the UK probably at the time. It may have had regional variations on prices, but looking back on that now and the current state of what you would call quote-unquote microtransactions, if Skyrim came out with a £2 microtransaction for horse armor, I wouldn't bat an eyelid because it's £2 and a quote microtransaction. The state of microtransactions in some games that are hundreds of pounds are not microtransactions anymore, are they? They are full-on add-on content. And yes, at the time, it was different. The landscape, was totally different. But paying £2 for a cosmetic, give me that any day. What game gives you £2 cosmetics these days? I don't know. I mean, look at the state of Valorant skins. I think Valorant's the big one for me. Like, if you want to buy a gun skin in Valorant, not only is it this rotational shop system, which I absolutely hate Fortnite for introducing, because I'm pretty sure Fortnite was the one that made it mainstream. But it's at least £25-30 for a decent top tier skin. And the battle pass is 60, 70, 80 quid, I'm sure. Maybe I'm misremembering the prices, but I'm sure it's bad.
The battle pass for Valorant isn't actually too bad. It's around £15 if I remember.
Right.
It's not too bad. But if you got to compare Valorant to CS:GO. There is a marketplace on Steam. Steam does take a cut, but if you do get a knife or if you wanted a cool AK skin, you could always sell it in the future and get a game or whatever you like, which I quite like. Quite like that model. Do you want to hear some depressing news, Matt?
Go on.
Talking about horse armor and Bethesda and World of Warcraft, Blizzard, those guys. So, the reason why we haven't seen a StarCraft 3 or a new Warcraft game and some other IPs out there is because Blizzard found out that a single horse mount in World of Warcraft in the in-game cash shop sold and made a lot more money than StarCraft and all these big IPs made. A single mount item made more money. And they said, development time for that mount in the cash shop, it took about a week's worth of development. And these big IPs, they take years to make. So it was a no-brainer. And it is a no-brainer. And it's a shame. So yeah, depressing news there. That's why we haven't gotten StarCraft 3.
And it is the state of the industry at the moment. And I'm not gonna be able to find this quote now, but I saw someone saying that in the current landscape of video games, it's the death of AA games. In terms of that, they've got so expensive to make that you are either a billion-dollar company making a AAA game, or you're an indie developer. There doesn't seem to be an in-between at the moment, and it's only going to set to get worse. And I sort of get, I get what they're saying with that. So, yeah, it's a difficult landscape at the moment. As you say, if you can put a couple of your team members to make a horse mount and you sell it and you get a few, well, it's multi-million dollars from it. Of course you're going to do that. So, yeah, interesting one. Let's go with something different. James Bond game making a comeback.
Okay.
It's the team behind the Hitman games are going to take on this IP, which I think is a great idea. I think if you've got this James Bond IP and you're going to give it to a game studio, I think you give it to the Hitman studio. That makes the most sense. It's the game that's similar in that genre, and the Hitman games are all fantastic. We've talked about the VR one on here most recently as well, and I think we're crying out for a good Bond game. We've not seen a good Bond for a while, and that IP is steeped in such amazing games. Going back to the dawn of consoles and before, basically. It literally, I think some of the earliest, I mean, you can go back to 1982, I think, which was on the ZX Spectrum, shaken, not stirred, was one of your early James Bond games. Then you had the legendary game in there. You had GoldenEye, which has been remade and is deemed, considered one of the all-time #1 Bond games. For me, and I'm sure for you as well, because it's the game that we played, 007 Nightfire was amazing.
There we go. You said it. That's bringing blood in those memories back.
I thought it. Now, that's another one it's mixed rated. Like, some reviewers they love it, and some don't like it. For us, it was just the Bond game that we played, so that's why we enjoy it so much. The campaign was fun, playing with all the gadgets, making your car go on its side and all that sort of stuff. But the arena mode, so you could play co-op, split screen on various maps, and think this is pre Call of Duty when this comes out as well in 2002. It felt like the best thing ever. Just having a 1v1 against family members or friends, running around all the different maps. I think the snow map was like a cable car going around it, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, amazing. And you could set up traps and all. Really good. You convert that experience into a modern multiplayer environment. Oh, there's so many cool things you could do with that.
Yeah. Do you remember, right, tripwires?
Yeah, that's what's in my mind as one of the main traps. What did it trigger? Was it like a claymore? Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was just the laser was attached to the end of a C4, and it just went boom. And then you'd hear someone shout across to the side of the room.
Didn't you have? Maybe I misremember, but I'm sure you had a rocket that you could sort of control and fly towards people, or there was a helicopter you could fly. There was a mini helicopter. There was something you could. I'm sure you could launch a rocket into people that you were controlling. Oh god, it's making me want to try and get away and access to play that. I'm almost sure as well that there was bots as well in those games as well. So again, it felt like just the best thing ever. Like you were having this huge multiplayer experience. Long before everyone was playing Call of Duty and stuff like that. Speaking of COD, it is launch week for Call of Duty.
It is.
And the first Call of Duty ever to release day one on Game Pass. Not the first Call of Duty on Game Pass, because Modern Warfare 3 is on there right now. And weirdly, for the first time in a long time, I'm kind of looking forward to playing COD. I think because it's on Game Pass, the main reason. But I'm quietly optimistic that it'll be a fun game. The zombies looks really good.
That was going to be my biggest take of why I'm excited. It's going to be a long time since I've actually played a Call of Duty properly, but Nazi Zombies is the reason why I want to, give it a spin, give it a whirl.
Yeah, you were always big Nazi zombie fans back in the day, weren't you? I remember, that first map and the first Nazi zombies craze was it World at War? Was that
So Nazi Zombies was introduced in Call of Duty 5 World at War. The first map is, I can't remember the name now. that's really going to annoy me, but it's literally just in this little house. Then they expanded to the Asylum. Then they did Shinanuma, Japan map, and then finally the almighty god, Darius the Giant. Riddled with Easter eggs, riddled with conspiracies. Look online. There's that many stories that people have made up, and I was a part of that community. I loved trying to figure out all the secrets and all the Easter eggs. And you know what? To this day, I'm still convinced there's Easter eggs to be found in Nazi Zombies. And that's what makes it so fun and exciting. You could be the first guy that could unwind these weird secret stories. Yeah, I love Nazi Zombies.
The YouTube community, that used to be such a sub YouTube community, wasn't it, of these Easter egg finders in Nazi Zombies and coming up with theories and stories and all that sort of stuff. Nackte Untoten, and I've just butchered the German there, so sorry for the any German listeners out there, which is German for Night of the Undead. That was the first Nazi Zombies map. The main COD is going to be on Game Pass as well, and of course I'm sure the latest in the Warzone series will there as well, which has usually been free anyway, the Battle Royale. But I'm not too fussed about the Battle Royale, but I am looking forward to some good old COD. And I have picked a few up over the last few years, whether they've been on offer and stuff like that. And you know what? The core gameplay loop is still the same as it's always been. You play your domination, your team deathmatch, your search and destroy, whatever your poison is, and it's fast. Yes, the gunplay slightly varies between the games, but at the core, it's the same game. But not played a COD on release for a while. Looking forward to it. We'll be talking about that more on. We're going to do a bonus episode all about COD, aren't we? After we've played it on launch, which will be available on our Ko-fi page if you want more from Cool Story Bro.
I'm sure we'll be talking about more of Nazi Zombies than the actual online, because that's where I'll be spending most of my time. But yeah.
I think
sounds good.
We want to talk about the Xbox World, because they've had an interesting release this week, haven't they? Or discussions of releases. Yeah,
so Xbox, they've come out last week. They had their partner preview, is what they call it. It was a really good one this time. Lots to talk about. Do you want to give me? Should I give you a couple of news articles that came out of it?
Well, I want to talk about Sea of Thieves first.
Sea of Thieves, yes. Okay, another still being developed. Great game.
Which I don't know if featured in the partner presentation, but they had this last week or two. They've announced their next season, as they call it, and the updates for this new Sea of Thieves look amazing. I don't know if you've seen it. So you can finally traverse with the it's not a grapple gun, but it is pretty much that. It's like the the spear that you fire out your gun. That looks cool. And then you've got like blow darts and stuff like that, so you can poison people, or there's one that's like a sticky bomb that has a timed explosive. It's just expanding that, more options, and again, the more stuff they add to Sea of Thieves, it just adds to that sandbox, which is the original idea behind the game. Yes, it didn't launch with a lot of features, but it has been one of them games that have just grown and grown and grown. And if you've never checked it out, grab yourself a crew, get on our Discord server, and just have a laugh having a sail around. Probably getting sunk a lot in your first few voyages, but I mean, we go back to it now. We're nowhere near the combat level we used to be.
No,
But
yeah, we
it's
used to
still
be
worth
pretty
it.
good. We used to be pretty formidable on the seas, didn't we? There was very few crews that could match our skill, but we went on it, I don't know, like a couple of months ago when we just got obliterated. But this new update, yeah, there's kind of there's like a sub genre of community on Sea of Thieves where they're more the nefarious types. You know, they like to sneak on board of your ship. They like to play pranks. There's loads of pranks you can do now. You can set up traps. You can do fake noises. You can do decoys. You can even, Matt. I'm not sure if you saw this, but you can get inside of a chest and
Yeah,
hold up. Hey, a chest. Hey, that looks good. I'm gonna bring it onto my ship. Hey, pop out. Here's a gun in your face. Give me your wealth. That's cool. That's a cool
yeah,
gameplay
you
feature.
could hide as a barrel for a while, and that's been one of the standard disguises. But now you can disguise yourself as loot. So you get a couple of the basic chests for free, and then if you do the missions that are associated with the new season, you can unlock more of the fancier looking chests to really throw your enemies off. Yeah, definitely gonna have to jump back into Sea of Thieves. It's one of them games I always jump back in, and always just take time when you first set sailing just to appreciate the visual art style for that game. It is so good looking, and I've said it time and time again, it's the best water in a video game ever, which is a weird thing to say, but go and play it, and you generally feel like you're sailing on the sea, and they've spent so much time into just simulating that part.
Yeah, the water's phenomenal, but not just that, but the weather system as well. You know, you just be all calm. You'll be fishing. You know, gearing up for the adventures ahead. And then what's that up ahead? Damn, that's a big grey cloud. And then it turns into a full-on tsunami. It's great.
It's one of them games that can go from you've got everything under control to you're currently swimming off a broken ship that's on fire in seconds. It's just like it's great, and it's one of them games where everyone's got their own stories and experiences, and you just make it what it is, which is the point of a sandbox game. You know, so many funny things that have happened. You know, I think we sat on Reaper's Island in one of the disguise barrels for ages waiting for a ship to arrive, and then just jump off and shoot people. And even better for that now, with the obviously the mermaids used to hang around, didn't they? If you scuttled your ship to try and like hide or sneak on people's ship, you can eat a piece of food to hide your mermaids now. It's which I think is a really good update. And anyone who likes the rowing a rowboat across to a big ship, which we've done on many occasions, to get there and then it sail away at last second. Yeah, this is it's fun, and can't wait to check out some more from Sea of Thieves.
What do you think of this name? Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. What do you think? Impressions? Excited? Pirate fan? So a wacky pirate game that just goes totally bonkers off the rails. I can't really describe it to you. You just have to watch the trailer. It is honestly bananas. It goes off the rails. I feel like I was on something while I was watching the trailer. So if you know what the if you know what the Yakuza games are like, it's this, but you're on a pirate ship, and it's even better than the quadruple A pirate game that we're not going to talk about because how atrocious it is. But you can actually board ships on this Yakuza game. Something that the quadruple A game couldn't do, Ubisoft. I wonder why. So yeah, wacky pirate game. Get it. Bonkers. Good. We love a good pirate game.
Hell yeah. I think we should stick with the sea of the announcement that you were probably most excited about.
Mm-hmm.
You going to do it?
Yeah, so, I mean, this really took off online. It was on the front page of Reddit. Every gaming news article was scrambling as fast as they can to try and write up a piece of news. Subnautica 2 early access confirmed for Xbox and Game Pass in 2025. A couple of details that I managed to dig up from the press conference, and a couple of rumors, but they are confirmed now. It's going to be set on a new planet, which is very exciting, and it is co-op. They finally implemented cooperative play in Subnautica 2, which was their original plan for Subnautica 1, but they just couldn't quite get it to work properly. But they're finally adding it in. Very excited.
This is a game I've never checked out. And being an Outer Wilds fan, everyone's told me this is as close as you're going to get to that feeling playing Subnautica. And something I definitely want to check out before the second one releases. Now, what I've read is the second one is going to release and they're going to call it early access, and they plan to be in early access for 2 or 3 years as they build and expand on features and biomes and all that sort of stuff. Now, with the original game, because I've never played it, is it a fixed world, or is it like, does it randomly generate as, as different times you play it?
Depends what build of the game you play, Matt.
Oh, right, okay.
That's for the OG Subnautica fans out there. So originally, Subnautica, way back when, they originally did have completely procedural generated terrain. But no, they've thankfully, everything is hand placed very nicely. So it's a full world built for you to go and explore. And it's one of those games where you unravel the story by just going to different parts of the world. It's dangerous, it's frightening. It's not meant to be a horror game, but let me tell you, it is a horror game. I screamed the entire time. Scary. I'm scared of the deep now. I'm scared to go out to sea.
There's you're making me want to play it. Not horror games though. There is a very popular horror game also coming to Xbox now, isn't there? Phasmophobia.
Oh yeah,
Comes
right.
to
Yeah,
Xbox, which was also announced. That's coming out next week, actually, ready for Halloween, so it's on the 29th. If you have an Xbox and you, like the horror genre, team up with your friends, would really recommend Phasmophobia. It's slightly different to the other Ghost games, whereas the object is you have to hunt out the ghost rather than try and escape from whatever facility you're in. Because in Phasmophobia, you can leave whenever you want, but the incentive is to stay and push your luck, and sometimes you push it too far. So you use various equipment to explore various areas and stuff like that. So if you're looking for a horror game this Halloween, would definitely recommend Phasmophobia.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Keeping on theme of horror, Alan Wake 2 new DLC, The Lake House. It's launched now, I believe. So I've not played it myself. I have to dig out a review and see someone else's opinion. Another horror. This is some big news here for you, Matt. So one of the biggest surprises I feel like was on the Xbox showcase has been Chronos, A New Dawn. A fresh horror experience from the team that just delivered Silent Hill 2. While Konami's remake isn't on Xbox yet, Chronos The New Dawn will be available on platform day one. Big news. It looks fantastic. It looks frightening. Big fan. Big fan. Can't wait to play that one.
Yeah, not a franchise, not an IP I've even been involved with, but horror seems to be the genre of the hour. Obviously, we approach Halloween, so a lot of the horror games get a push this time of year. I wish I was brave enough to play more horror games. I don't know why I'm announcing that on a worldwide podcast, but yeah, I just
will you be playing any horror games during the Halloween festive?
I do want to play some. I'll pick up some more Phasmophobia because I really like that. I also want to try some Dead by Daylight as well. I want to check that out. I'll play a few. I don't think you can beat Damned as a horror game though, can you?
Damned, yeah, excellent game. It's no one's gonna know even know what that is. I don't even think it's alive anymore.
And I don't think the servers are online. I mean, looking at my Steam, the last time I played that was in 2015, in January 2015 as well. So it's almost 10 years since we last played that. Those of you who have the Sneaky Bros on YouTube, are our Damned videos still up? or did they get taken down?
No, they're up. Yeah, I believe there's 2 or 3 damned videos that are probably approaching 10 years old. They're really old, but they still, they're still okay.
It was one of them games. You just sort of have to search through drawers, find keys and clues to get out of the haunted house that you're in. But there was another player who was the ghost, and there were different types of ghosts that you could be that could do different things, and it was just really funny.
My funnest experience in Damned was when I was invited along to do a video for 404 Games Not Found. This is a throwback to our YouTube channel, but there was, a group of guys that we knew in real life. They had their own YouTube channel, and they invited me to be the monster. And the 4 other guys had to work together to try and escape. And yeah, it's everything that you could imagine happened, but worse. Like, it was fantastic. They all, Joe was crying in the background. You don't know these people, but they were crying, laughing, and yeah, I don't think they slept that night.
So are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Damned 2 exists.
Sorry, what? It exists?
Damned 2 is in development at the moment.
Okay.
And it has a Steam page that went live, I don't know, within the last year by the looks of it. And so you can add it to your wish list. It's not officially out, but there is a play test that's currently available. So they have an early access system, and it's had a modern makeover. I literally just found that myself. I just went to the discussion page on Steam. So Damned 2 exists. Can you believe it? Add that to your wish list, guys. You know what? I think it's going to be really good, and I'm going to have to request access to the playtest actually, because I really would. I'd like to give that a go.
I'm really surprised that there's a number 2 in the works, because I know the IP or the original developers were having a bit of trouble. I know they were selling to a different publisher, or the devs were changing hands, or maybe they were just changing the name of the studio, but they did make a couple of other games in between. Obviously, they weren't hits in any way.
Yeah, they've not been reviewed well as well. Their other games, they're sort of puzzly, sort of action games, and yeah, they've got mixed reviews. And Damned is their only positive review, so it would make sense as a studio to actually go, let's just go and make the game that was actually popular for us.
I've got another kind of horror-ish game, Mistfall Hunter. Heard of it?
Nope.
Okay, so let me give you a brief description. So Mistfall Hunter is a mix of Souls-like and extraction games.
Ugh.
Confirmed for 2025 release. Now, okay, so your initial reaction is, obviously, we've heard there's so many Souls-like coming out now, because obviously, the big success of Elden Ring. It's the hot new thing, the hot new genre to make. Everyone's buying them. Extraction. This is the new FPS, third-person shooting mode that everyone's making as well. Someone's combined them together. Now, I get your initial reaction, but let me tell you, watch the trailer. It's very smooth. Graphics are fantastic. Great storyline. The game looks clean. It looks finished. It looks great. It's going to be, I'm telling you, it's going to be a great selling Souls game.
Since the Division 1 Dark Zone, I have not found an extraction game I enjoy. So that's why I'm skeptical. Ugh, I could talk for hours about Division 1 and Dark Zones. Maybe we will sometime. But yeah, I don't know. For every extraction game I've played, it doesn't seem to do the fun bits right. I'm going to talk about it now. Division 1's Dark Zones, they were so good. So you just go into a level of the Dark Zone that was appropriate for your level, and the higher level you went up, it was more high risk, and you're going to find higher players, but higher risk, higher reward. Great. There was PvE elements in there as well. Great. And then when you fired off the extraction, guess what? You launched a flare into the air, and there was a countdown timer. So guess what happened? Chaos ensued. Everyone would run because they knew you're extracting because you want to get gear out. So you have gear. And it would just create these chaos moments as you're trying to extract. Now, I've played other stuff, you know, the other big extraction games, and for me, like Escape from Tarkov, I don't know what it is. Like, I've tried to play Tarkov time and time again, and it's a little bit too, let's just creep around and then get shot in the back and no idea where I get shot from sort of game. And, you know, loading bullets individually into a mag and all that, I don't know. I don't know. It's just not a game that's resonated with me, and I know Tarkov has a huge following and loads of fans, but yeah, and the Call of Duty one was the same as well. It didn't quite scratch that itch. Nothing's got close. Nothing's got close. Dark Zones. I mean, I know you never played, you know, that series of games. You didn't play 1 or 2, but it's so good.
You had to talk about it, huh? There it is. Yeah, I never played, but I watched you a couple of times and, you know, watched other content creators, and, you know, I could imagine you being, you know, being the person in your party firing off that flare and being like, okay, boys and girls, buckle down, buckle in, suit up.
Because it was in my favorite post-apocalyptic setting, you know, that, you know, post-disaster New York at winter, perfect. You couldn't pick. Yeah, that's it. It's the I Am Legend setting, but yeah, I don't know. And the follow-up games have been, they've been okay. It sounds like I'm just hating sequels this episode, I don't, because there's some sequels I absolutely love, but yeah, not those ones.
Okay, name one. What's a sequel that you love?
Age of Mythology Retold.
Damn it, no.
Helldivers 2.
Okay, there we go. That's a really good sequel. Okay, more news. Don't go again. Come on, give it a chance. Wu Chang, Fallen Feathers. Have you seen this? You probably haven't, but there's a reason why you haven't seen it, because it's a Souls-like action RPG that will push you to the limits as you face off against an onslaught of monstrous creatures. Unravel the secrets of your forgotten past in the land of Shu before you are consumed by the feathering disease. Whatever that means. Don't want to catch that. Wear your masks, people. Coming to Game Pass 2025. Well, you know, I've seen this trailer as well. It looks very good.
Yeah, I'm just looking through the trailer now. It looks like every other Souls-like game I've ever seen. But
like I said, they're selling like pancakes. You know, everyone loves them.
The good thing about these sorts of games, because they're on Game Pass, it has a chance for me to consider downloading it and checking it out. That's the big draw for it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've not played Elden Ring, so yeah, if I've not played that, I ain't playing any of these, am I? So yeah, Souls-like games not for me. Maybe I'll find if anyone's going to captivate me, it's going to be Elden Ring, and yeah, I just haven't found the time to play it. And I know, there's going to be people screaming because it will be game of a lifetime for a lot of people. And I'm looking down our Discord community right now. I can see loads of people still playing Elden Ring, but yeah.
Yeah, but you know, you can be that person that can say, I've got it in my back pocket to pull out and play at any point. You know, people will be really jealous of that because they've already had that experience. They went, damn, I want it again. And you can have that. Like you have with the Outer Wilds DLC, which you've still not completed because you don't want to complete it because it's just too good.
Yeah, I feel like I've got to complete that soon because I want to just do a bonus episode just talking about Outer Wilds, and I feel like to do that I need to have finished it. So yeah, it's going to happen soon.
Can we plan that, please? Because that will actually give me an excuse to do a full run again, and I'm really excited already. So make it happen, please. Let me know when it's happening.
Yeah.
Some news which I think you will like. I'm excited for this. Remedy announces FBC Firebreak. It's a multiplayer shooter coming to Xbox Game Pass next year. We love Game Pass releases. Okay, so looking at the trailer, it looks a little bit like Left 4 Dead meets Nazi zombies. It's got that wackiness to it, but also, you know, you got some zombie trains. You know, you're running that, you're kiting them. blasting guns. The gunplay looks good. It looks sharp, which I like.
I kind of thought it had a little bit, a very little bit, just a tiny, just a smidge of a Team Fortress sort of
little bit,
vibe,
yeah.
or just in terms of the art style. I mean, for that, it just the way it initially looked for me. Maybe it was just the angle of one of the trailers, but it does look interesting. This does actually. So, I mean, I always like the modern shooters and stuff like that set in the current era, but this does look interesting. And again, one of those games I'll definitely check out with Game Pass. It just looks like just a load of fun, just craziness going on with the zombies coming towards you and you're just firing God knows what at them, and just chaos. Yeah, it does. That looks like a really good announcement, that, and yeah, looking forward to check that one out.
New FPS called Blindfire, which takes the form of a multiplayer arena shooter where the game is set mostly in darkness. Thoughts? Should a game be played in the dark? What do you think?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of games take this idea and run with it in the past. I think there's a horror game that needs to run with this idea as well. But I think modern engines and capabilities of consoles and PCs are allowing this to just pop a little bit more with what you can do with lighting effects. It looks cool. Is it just going to be a shooter in the dark? Who knows? The map where all the walls are like neon lights and stuff like that looks awesome. Really like that. So, and that looks interesting, but it's a hard space to move into.
You know, there's not much room to wiggle, to squeeze yourself into that genre and that market. You know, you've got Overwatch, you've got Valorant. It's really hard to squeeze in.
Oh, is it going to be... Oh, so it's not like a Call of Duty arena shooter. It's going to be more of a tactical-based one.
I don't know, to be fair. All it says is arena shooter. But it's just overloaded with the amount of multiplayer shooters we have right now, and they're going against big names like Call of Duty is releasing. We've got news on the potentially new Battlefield. Hopefully, news is going to come out of that soon. Excited for that.
Yeah, there is a shooter that does look interesting that was announced in that little the partner Xbox presentation. It's not technically a shooter, but it's got a lot of shooting elements in it, and that's the Mouse PI for hire. Don't know if you saw this.
So, is it from the developers of Cuphead?
It looks like that art style. So it's that old Disney style animation, but first person this time, and apparently you're just like an investigator, so a noir mystery shooter is how it's been described.
I like it.
It just looks like one of those games that's going to be really fun, and that, as we said, that Cuphead old Disney art style, it is good, and it lends itself to do so much, and yeah, that is one I'll check out if it drops on Game Pass, 100%.
Absolutely, yeah. It looks fantastic. The art style is really unique. They've obviously put a lot of work in it creatively, so well done to the development team there. Nice, fresh, casual game. Well, it could be casual, I don't know. Cuphead was a nightmare at times. I had to bash my head against the wall trying to get past some bosses. I'm not sure if you played Cuphead before, Matt.
Yeah, I played some Cuphead, yeah.
So you know the frustration that I feel then. Couple of smaller announces. Animal Well launches on Xbox. That's out already now.
Yeah, no surprise. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been received very well for a 2D platformer. Let's see here. Just gonna recap some of the games coming to Game Pass soon. Subnautica 2, Eternal Strands, like a fantasy game. World looks like there's gonna be like an open world bicycle online game. I think interesting. Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, FPC Firebreak. They're all coming to Game Pass, by the way, that I've just listed. That's pretty much it for the Xbox partner preview, I believe. Yeah, it was a really good showcase. I highly rate Xbox this year. They've got a good lineup.
World premiere. I didn't watch it. Did it have that guy back?
It didn't, actually. I was really sad.
That's the old E3 style of presentation they used to do, even though E3 isn't a thing. But yeah, loads of gaming news. that we've missed. Loads of stuff about Steam Deck 2 that we'll cover in the coming weeks as well. Interestingly, Netflix have shut down one of their studios as well, which is interesting considering the episode we did last week all about Netflix gaming. Make sure you check that out at coolstorybro.gg. Before we go, you got any games?
Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to say that anything Netflix gaming related, Jamie from the Netflix Gaming Club podcast will probably fill you in more about that. He's all up in that jam. Yeah, I do have. You guessed it. Or maybe not quite yet, but you have guessed the title. Guess the Game is back this week. Episode 4. Can I go on a bit of... Can I go down the rabbit hole a second?
Do what you want.
Do we have time?
Yeah. We're already over, so it's fine. Just carry on.
All right. So last episode, in episode 3, Guess the Game was Tetris, right? Now, thinking of clues I could give you, I went down the Tetris rabbit hole, which I didn't know existed, but it does exist. There's some really bizarre bits of information, history involving the game of Tetris because it's been around for so long, right? Did you know that Tetris literally took mobile gaming to new heights, leaving the planet in 1998? It became the first video game played in space thanks to a Russian astronaut on his last mission. What do you think? First game in space, Tetris? It had to be, right? Or
it doesn't. Yeah, they've missed a trick with it not being Space Invaders, but yeah, Tetris is fine as well.
And Tetris has been published by several companies on more than 65 platforms, setting a Guinness World Record for the most ported game of all time.
65 platforms? I don't think I could name 30 platforms.
Right.
Anyway, okay.
Guinness World Record there for you. It's official. Another interesting bit of information. I went really down this rabbit hole, by the way. I spent hours. I found. Did you know that this is ridiculous? That McDonald's and Red Bull both published separate Tetris games.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. The McDonald's one, definitely. That feels like something they could tie into a campaign for, I don't know, God knows what. Maybe it's on those iPads they have in some of their restaurants.
It's 100% a campaign. I want you to guess what that is.
Oh, God. I don't think I could guess.
Okay, so you're gonna have to look this up after. It's hilarious. I really want one. So McDonald's developed a handheld version of Tetris released in 2023. Really recent. 500,000 were made as part of a promotional event celebrating Children's Day and the 40th anniversary of the McNugget. It was included as a toy with a Happy Meal. The device is shaped like a large boot-shaped chicken McNugget. I am not kidding you. It exists. Look at the Wikipedia page. It looks amazing. It looks cute. I want one on my shelf so I can just pick it up and just play Tetris on a McNugget.
You know what? We're laughing about it, but you know what? That's the sort of thing that'll be worth thousands in a few years' time because they didn't make that many.
I think it will be, yeah. And then I didn't know this, but on the Red Bull website, there used to be like a whole online gaming section. I really tried to look for it, but I couldn't find it. Their website is massive, by the way. So many sub pages that go into weird areas with Red Bull. But you can play Red Bull's game actually on Tetris.com. You just go there right now and just play it. I had a bit of a go myself and got on the high scores. Yeah, good times. So that was down the rabbit hole of Tetris. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this as a recurring feature. I quite like going and diving into some weird stories involving video games because there's an endless supply of really funny stories. All right, you ready for episode 4 of Guess the Game?
Go for it.
As always, I'm not prepared. Loading up the timer right now. Bear with me, putting on the timer 5 minutes. Do you know the rules? Do you want me to go through the rules? Yeah, let's go through the rules. All right. So, have you played Guess Who when you were a kid?
Yeah, you don't have to explain the rules to the listeners. I know how to play this game.
Do you know how to play Guess Who? Do you viewers? So, I'm going to be thinking of a game. Um, you can ask me questions, and I can answer with yes or no. And we do have some clues today. And like I said at the start of the episode, it's going to be quotes from the actual game you're trying to guess. So don't worry, I picked a game that you have played, so you would have heard these quotes, depending how far along you got with the game. But I'm sure you'll be able to get something from them. So 3 clues. If you ask for a clue, I'm going to knock off a minute. You've got 5 minutes in total. So if you take all 3 clues, you'll have 2 minutes left on the clock. Are you ready to play? Guess the game.
Let's go.
5 minutes starting from now.
Is it Star Wars?
It's not Star Wars. Good guess, though.
Is it set in a third-person perspective?
No, it's not.
Does it have a realistic art style?
That's a hard one. I'm going to say yes.
Oh, nothing like some ambiguous answers. Did it come out in the last 5 years?
Yes.
It did come out in the last 5 years. Okay. Is it a sequel to a game?
It is.
Is it Helldivers 2?
It's not.
Yeah, let's have the first clue.
All right. So, new time. It's going to be 3 minutes, 13 seconds. Use those seconds wisely. All right, the first quote of the game. Listen in. The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world. Prepare for unforeseen consequences. 3 minutes, 13 seconds.
A game that came out in the last 5 years that I would have played.
Okay, so let me rephrase that. You've probably not played it, but
Oh, right, okay.
it's part of a,
Part of a what?
well, there's plenty of those games.
I'm really stumped now. Is it a real-time strategy?
It's not.
First-person shooter.
It is.
It's a first-person shooter. Okay. It's a semi-realistic first-person shooter that's came out in the last 5 years. Okay, let's have the next clue.
All right, next quote. New time is going to be 1 minute, 24 seconds. You can do this. I'm not sure I want to go to the surface. What if the world finds out what we're doing down here? 1 minute, 20
Is it
seconds.
set in the Fallout universe?
It's not in the Fallout universe.
I want to go to the surface. Oh, God, that just screams Fallout for me.
It does.
Yeah, let's have the final clue.
All right, final clue. Oh my gosh. You're going to have 10 seconds on the clock. This is actually hard. I'll give you that. It is hard. But I believe you can do this in 10 seconds. Think about the words I'm describing, okay? Here we go. Carbon stars with ancient satellites, colonized by sentient fungi, gas giants inhabited by vast meteorological intelligence, worlds stretched thin across the membranes where dimensions intersect, impossible to describe with our limited vocabulary. 10 seconds. It's a first-person shooter. Dimensions.
Half-Life Alyx?
It's Half-Life! You got it! He got it with 3 seconds to spare. I didn't know you were going to get that. Well done. So what gave it away?
It was just the next logical one that I was going to guess. And then you start talking about dimensions and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I've not played Alex because I don't have a VR headset. Although I'm sure there's probably a port of it somewhere where you can play without VR. But lots of rumours around Half-Life 3. Probably the most amount of leaks for a potential HLX is the code name for it at the moment. And a lot of things appearing that hints that we may be getting at least another Half-Life game in the series. But is it going to be the time that Valve finally counts to 3?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you've seen the ending to Half-Life, Alec, but it does suggest there's going to be a new Half-Life game where you're playing as Mr. Gorman Freeman.
Good morning, Mr. Freeman. Looks like you're running late.
That's one quote I was not putting in there, by the way. Also, the one about the eyes.
I would have got that straight away.
You would have. Did you know that Half-Life is one of Quentin Tarantino's favorite computer games? And he has stated that he really wishes someday to make a film adaptation of it.
A Tarantino Half-Life game film. Oh, that'd be so good. Because Tarantino doesn't hold back on the special effects, shall we say? So,
oh no, there'll be body parts exploding everywhere of like head crabs. That'd be great.
A Tarantino head crab would be disgusting. In fact, I don't want to watch that film. That's just gonna. I'm not gonna be able to sleep thinking about what a Tarantino head crab looks like.
Half-Life. So, a bit of a weird development cycle, as everyone knows. We're still waiting for number 3, but fans have actually created a remake of Half-Life called Black Mesa, originally released in 2012. I personally have installed it. I completed the entire thing.
It's so good. I've played it as well. It's probably my favorite remake of a game ever.
I would have to agree.
I
didn't even finish the original Half-Life, but this remake it gives it that what's a really good word to describe? It gives that fresh paint. It delves into some of the content that didn't make it into the original Half-Life. So I know for Act 3, where you're on the alien planet, the gas, maybe spoiled it there for you. Sorry, but if you've not played it already, what are you doing with your life? But yeah, they said that the devs, they expanded on the alien planet loads, and it shows it. I thought Act 3 was going to be really short, but it was probably the longest act. It was really fun.
Yeah, they got loads of Zen stuff that's been leaking in updates coming through into current Valve games. So yeah, things are definitely heating up in the Half-Life universe. Do you know why you never completed the original Half-Life when we were younger and we had it? Because we had Half-Life Day 1, which was a demo.
That's right, yeah.
It was a really long demo, so it contained what was deemed to be the first day of that after the incident in the game. But you can get so far in that demo. It's quite a way into the game. And obviously we used to play around in the science bit at the start anyway.
Would you say?
That's all we cared about.
Okay, I would say that the start of Half-Life 1 is the best game start for any game ever that's ever been done.
Ooh. It is a great opening for a game.
The ride that you're on is, if you just look around, there's something new every time that you start the game again. You'll see like a scientist will be banging on the door. You'll see helicopters landing. You're in like a secret base, right? So, and it really gives you that feel that you're just a scientist. You're just a small scientist, just involved in this big operation around you.
That's it. Initially, it feels too long, like you're on it for ages, but you're just looking into things, and it puts you in control of this bigger world. It sets up. Like, there's real subtle hints that maybe things are already going wrong long before you get to the test chamber. But yeah, and you sort of arrive and you're just a normal guy who works there. Well, you're not a normal guy. You are high up in the ranks, but you're part of such a big facility. Yeah, I think you're right there. In the comments, or if you're not watching on a system that has comments, if you're listening on Spotify or things like that, head over to coolstorybro.gg, come to our Discord server, and let us know if you got a game that has a better opening sequence than Half-Life / Black Mesa. Let us know.
I don't think it exists. I think that is pinnacle. I don't think you can get better than that. It, like you said, it sets the world tone perfectly.
Yeah. Be interesting. I think there's a good there's scope for a prequel to Half-Life where it's just Gordon Freeman going back and forwards from his apartment each day on the train, just doing a bit of doing his job, going back again. People would play that. I've got some ideas. Valve, if you make that game, you owe me some credit. Right, that's a pod. We are well over our usual time, but who cares? We had lots to cover.
Nice.
Yeah, we're going to start pushing out more bonus content on our Ko-fi page. If you want to support us, coolstorybro.gg. Make sure you check out 2Game as well if you want gaming discounts. There are great partners as well that support the podcast. Thanks to everyone who's been tuning in. We've got listeners all over the world in the podcast, and we've got some great guests lined up coming up soon. Join us on the Discord, and we'll see you next time.
Cool Story Bro, brought to you by the Snake.